Oh, God. Another thing popped up on my screen, but it's fine. We're good. Hello, everyone.
Hi,
Welcome to Dice Jailers. I am Jordan,
I'm Bjorn.
and this week we're going to talk about magic. Just magic, our favorite spells, our favorite spell combinations, our favorite weird spell uses. We're just, God damn it. I thought we got away from this.
That's my favorite spell right there. So good.
Spell Break Jordan. That's the
Yeah.
spell.
The thing was, I deliberately stopped for a while because I knew you'd forget about it.
I just had hope.
I
You
know.
gave me hope.
You thought I forgot. Nope.
Oh, fuck me. Well, so before we get in to actually talking about our favorite 5th edition spells and things, Bjorn, I know because we've talked a bit, not just on the show,
Yep.
but how you been this week, bud?
This has been a rough week for me personally. My building might get sold, and property management companies are terrible. There is a small glimmer of hope. If the sale doesn't go through, which it actually might not, because they might lowball our owner, and if that happens, she's going to tell them to go pound sand. Or if they want too many repairs, she's going to do the same thing. I don't think pound sand is actually the term she's going to use. I
No, probably not.
No, I don't even think you can say what she will say in a Tarantino movie. Like that's
That,
like
yeah.
a very colorful vocabulary. But if that happens, we when I say we, I mean all the tenants in this building. We're going to try and explore some avenues of possibly trying to keep the building from ever getting sold, unless it gets sold to us. We'll we'll see if she has any interest in that. It's conversations to be had. That's been a lot.
Yeah.
However, on the upside, the one shot this past weekend,
That was so much fun.
yeah, that was fun. The only knock I have is I think the reverse rolls could use a little tweaking as that last combat. It stretched on about a round or two
Because we
longer than I would have
couldn't
liked.
fucking hit him.
Yeah, but that said, I still had a really good time with it. It seemed like you all had fun. That's
Oh, yeah.
what matters. And now I know if I ever run it again, I know exactly what modifications I would make to it to make that run a little faster. I think I would make the Nilbog's protections be like a series of diminishing returns where
Right.
if magic is, forcing some stuff to reduce, or once the deck comes into it, you get to subtract your modifiers to make it a little easier to hit as opposed
Something
to
like
adding.
that.
Yeah, make the math difficult, but make it work.
It's a whole thing.
I had a blast. I can't wait for our next one shot.
Yep.
I
I
already
have
have.
ideas for our next one. Because
Ooh,
I think I might want to run it.
love it, love it.
Because I'm
Then
going
I'll
to
I'll start.
I'm
You can
going to
start working on
test
the
it on
next
some
one.
unsuspecting nerds soon enough.
I'll start working on September's. I have a really fun idea for September.
Yep.
But
And
yeah,
then
this has been man. I can't believe it's Thursday right now because it feels like it should be like November with the way this week has been. Oh, but the
woof.
the cool thing, I got an email today from the Seattle Kraken as I am on the wait list for tickets, and I have a high enough wait list number that I get to buy tickets to some individual games. So
Nice.
no matter what, I'm going to see the Kraken in person for the inaugural season, which I'm really
That's
happy about.
dope.
I'm hoping to go to opening game. I don't know if that's going to happen because if I can't buy them through regular purchasing, those tickets are going to be so expensive
Oh
that
yeah, they're gonna be ridiculous.
yeah, I mean, people are going to charge whatever they want for it,
Yep.
and I don't know that I can afford that. And even if I can, I don't know that I want to.
Yeah.
Like, I'll probably just go to some bar that has just Kraken gear everywhere,
You mean
and
we'll go to some bar that has Kraken gear everywhere?
I'll make you a deal. I'll make you a deal. One or the other. We'll either go to a bar to watch the first game, or if I can get tickets to it, you and I'll go to that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm down for that. I'm so down for that. Like,
Odds are it'll probably be the bar, but
yep.
because I am not
Either
spending
way,
top dollar fucking tickets.
yeah, God's no.
But that's where I'm at. What's good? What are you up to?
I've been having some fun. Like, I my brain's making the happy chemicals, so I'm like,
Good.
I'm doing good. Uh, and it's weird because this just how I'm supposed to feel all the time? Because that's too much power. Uh,
Right?
and also like a game that I used to play in like middle school. Uh, that I've been just occasionally like finding private servers for whenever they pop up and then
Yeah.
die. And like I've mentioned this game to you a couple times. They're finally like the actual company that used to own the game like reacquired it, has restarted, and they're opening back up the game soon. And I got in the beta, so
Yeah, I was
I've
gonna say
just been
you're on the play test.
I've just been playing it. Super great thing that they did a stress test with this closed beta, and we stressed them the fuck out. Uh, like they had to stop for emergency maintenance like the night of like just the start of the beta.
But
Uh,
that's good that they already know that they didn't have the server strength to withstand a beta test.
yeah,
That means they're not ready for launch.
that's they. It's because they straight up didn't think that most of the people that signed up for the beta were actually going to play,
That's
and
great.
most of us did. And like
Awesome.
the chat lobby, because there's just a big general chat.
General chat.
uh there's just a big general chat when you're not like going into an instance.
Sure.
And so much of it was a bunch of us that are like, you know, late late 20s, early to mid 30s, all of us just like, my dude, I remember going to Blockbuster and getting point cards for this game with my allowance. And just so much like nostalgia, and then good god, we're old and sad now. Um
No, no, no.
and
Trust me. You're not old and sad yet.
well,
You'll get there.
we
Just
feel
just
old
just
and sad now.
just you wait,
Uh
Henry Higgins.
but yeah, it was just so nice to be in an online game community where it wasn't toxic.
Right?
And
Yeah.
like we were all just happy to be there.
I have to tack on just a simple statement you said there regarding being old and sad. First off, you and Saint can both go fuck yourselves. So I saw your little post on that about playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater as a child. You can both go straight to hell.
Man, Tony Hawk Pro Skater, that was one of the first games that I played on a PS2.
Yeah?
Uh and that was one of the first games I played on PS2, and that was thanks to the late great Cortez Kennedy. Uh
Nice.
that
Oh,
was yeah,
yeah, you want to talk about old school skating games? I'll raise you NES Skate or Die.
my
That's
dude.
yeah, that's what we take it back to.
But yeah, just with all of these like things that are happening, I'm just doing good. It's
Good.
just like a bunch of different things at once that are all combining to make me happy.
That's a
Uh
good thing. Like the quarantine was hard on everyone, but I'm
yeah,
happy to see anybody doing well right now.
and it's just like yeah, still like I'm broke and acting jobs are hard to come by because they're just starting to happen again.
Sure.
But I have this thing that makes me smile.
Right?
Uh and that's something. I'm
You've
also
got
I've been on TikTok dangerously too much. Um
you have. But that's not a
I
bad thing. But
I think it is
well,
because I'm
I mean,
slowly becoming an internet person, and like yes, I was an internet person in the terms of like I was on the internet all the time.
sure.
But now I'm like making content, like we're doing this,
I
like I'm
know.
starting to stream more. What am I doing?
You know what? I feel you, my dude, because I am in the process of looking up what I need to do to possibly get into streaming myself for playing
Hmm.
Xbox games. Because the thing is, you've never been in the same room as me while I play a video game.
No, I
The
have not.
commentary never ends.
I
I
mean,
voice everything.
I'm just imagining the wonderfulness that would be the two of us streaming, playing a game together. Because you already know, people that are watching, this combination, it's magic.
It really is. We are the material components to entertainment.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And as we get on our way that way, let's talk about our favorite spells in 5th edition.
Yeah. Um, I never thought I would enjoy playing a spellcaster, but I have been playing a divination wizard through probably the first half of Rime of the Frost Maiden now.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I really like being a spellcaster. It's fun. Barbarian is still my first love. Like nothing will ever replace the joy of having that many hit points and dealing that much damage up close. But there's just something enjoyable about saying, I'm going to alter this course of this entire battle with this one spell.
Mm-hmm. And see, and honestly, for me with spellcasting, like I've played a metric fuck ton of spellcasters. As for some reason my camera decides to be blurry. Here we are, we're back.
Yep.
Uh, but like spellcasting for me, I almost have more fun with it when we're not in combat. When I can do little like nonsense spells to like help with RP or like, a
Sure.
non-combat encounter. Just because you get to do more weird stuff. It's like, yes,
Well, and
it's fun to throw that giant fireball, but
right.
there's so many other fun things.
Well, and let's give credit to the ritual casting system. Something that really, I think, encourages you to cast spells during those role play times. Because
Mm-hmm.
you're obviously not going to ritual cast in combat. That takes 10 minutes plus the casting time.
Mm-hmm.
You'd never do it. So it's only going to happen out of combat, which I think really gives more social or just overall utility to
Well,
your spellcasters.
and it's just so nice to like, you can just ritual cast it. It'll take some time, but you won't use the spell slot. And that's so nice for the what I call, your DM's throwing a Kraken at you combo,
Yes.
which is the two ritual spells of water breathing and water walking. And you can just ritual cast those at the top of the morning and just like, all right, entire party, we're fine when this boat gets sunk.
Exactly.
Because your
We know the
DM,
boat is being
because the
sunk.
DM has been talking about Kraken and giant squid and dragon turtles a little too much.
Though, pro tip to DMs out there: if you do have a party that does this, make sure you think about how that ship breaks apart as it gets scuttled. Because if they're not all topside, and as that ship's trying to sink down underwater, if there's that party member pinned in a lower deck area, they can't break down beneath the surface of the water because water walking.
Yep.
So now you have to think about what kind of crushing damage might that do? Just
Or if they get, stuck in a bubble.
yep, fun things to think about. Just little stuff. I'm not saying force the issue on that, but if they leave that open,
Yep. But
have a
that's like hands down, that's one of my favorite early favorite easy spell combos. It's just water breathing, water walking. You
now they're
somehow
both
get,
ritual, correct?
yeah, and you can get like, because water walking, you can, it's not, uh, what am I trying to say? It's not always
Oh, so
you're
it's
on
not
top of the
mandatory.
surface. Yeah, it's not
Okay.
mandatory. You can choose
Okay.
to sink. So that crushing doesn't really happen unless your player, for some reason, has a thing in their, in their playing that is like, well, I don't understand how magic works even when spells are cast on me. Like,
The barbarian.
you know. Uh, but so like you can have that fun of like, all right, I'm gonna swim and I can water breathe and I can water breathe and I can water breathe and then zoop up to the top because water walk.
which which is a nice combo. And
It's
honestly,
the scuba diving combo.
and there are some DMs out there who I think their instinct would be to get frustrated about something like that. I, on the other hand, enjoy that players would do that because if I do have that, I want that underwater fight to happen. I think my players are going to be a little more willing to engage my nasty underwater beastie when they know they can't drown.
Right.
Like, you can't drown, um, and you have an evacuation method. So
Mm-hmm.
it's fun. No, that is a delightful combo. I have a combo of spells that can be used. It can be used for a couple different things. It could be used not in combat as sort of a, hey, we're gonna infiltrate somewhere, but maybe it's really hard to get into, or we need to get down to a place far below, or we're not 100% sure about things. or you can use this in combat as just a very effective but really mean method of going, I'm done dealing with you now. And that's the combination of you start with Dimension Door, because
Mm-hmm.
I love Dimension Door. You travel 500 feet. You can take somebody with you as long as they're the same size category or smaller. And
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a great way to get, say, above a fortress or a encampment you're trying to get
Oh,
into.
absolutely.
Or if you're fighting something near a cliffside, and if you can grapple them and cast Dimension Door over the cliffside, and this is where the second part comes in, and you cast Featherfall on yourself. I love
So
this
you
combination.
just, so you just Smash Bros. Donkey Kong,
Yeah,
and then float back, and then
float back
don't
down.
fall.
Exactly. You get nice up high over whatever this thing is, and like you make clear, like you Dimension Door through with them, release the grapple, cast Featherfall on myself.
That I, you know, I was thinking about things for today's episode, and how that combination did not come to my mind. I'm surprised.
Now, there's one more piece to this that is really important to have. You have to be above a really high ravine for this, right? You
Yeah.
cast the Dimension Door, you cast the Featherfall, and let's just say whatever you took through that Dimension Door grapples you back. Your DM is going to think they're so clever. You need to make sure you still have a second level spell slot handy as you cast Misty Step.
Oh, yep. Yep, 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 yep.
Next turn, you just Misty Step
Yes.
straight up. You're feather falling, Misty Step straight the fuck up.
Yep.
Um, Watch them plummet to their demise beneath you. This is a wonderful, wonderful combination. You won't get a chance to use it very often, but the
No,
Wily Coyote nature of this,
it's
I
so
don't,
good.
it can't be overlooked.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's silly, and it's also really violent. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's a terrible way to kill an enemy, and yet it's a great way to do it. But
See,
again,
one.
also, I think the Dimension Door Featherfall combo can be really good for infiltrating or for escaping
Mm-hmm.
somewhere. If you need to get out of a fortress,
Just
go ahead and Dimension Door out over a cliffside, and then Featherfall once you're out of
and
view.
just goodbye.
Yeah, just
And then
remember,
you have to make sure, if you're planning to use that, that your character has an umbrella so that they can Mary Poppins out.
it makes it more fun. It makes it more fun and more funny.
See, thinking thinking Wile E. Coyote Acme shenanigans with spells,
Yep,
it brings up one that that came to mind very quickly for me, and that is the two spell combination of Stone Shape
yep.
and Catapult.
Go on.
I need to
I
like
well, like so. This is a multi-step process.
yeah. So because basically it's just Stone Shape to have a very dense
Yep,
5 by 5 cube of stone that is detached from the ground,
sure.
and then Catapult to just fucking fling it.
Now, this
That's
is
it.
a combo that I think is great to use if you have two spellcasters in the party.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely. Because then you're
if
just doing you're doing Avatar: The Last Airbender earthbending at that point, where
yeah,
one person just pop, throw.
and I think that's an important thing to do. If you are playing in a party with multiple spellcasters, check in
Oh,
with each other about the spells
absolutely.
you're taking. Figure out these combos you can make. Um, it's it's quite an interesting way to do things. Like
Mm-hmm.
a, I think a great combination of spells to use depending on the enemy you're facing. If you're facing any sort of Dexy enemy, but they're still wearing at least some type of metal armor, because I only say Dexy is you don't want them to be too strength heavy. Is
Mm-hmm.
I think a great combination is you have someone cast heat metal on them, which is one of my favorite spells in the game.
Absolutely.
It's just guaranteed damage and it's very difficult to escape. But the other thing because your wizard won't be casting heat metal because wizards don't get that spell for
They
some
don't.
damn reason, which
It's
irks me.
because we all know that wizards would over goddamn use it.
Bet your ass we would. But
No, you
what
are
you
not allowed to
combo
have
that
the
with,
fun toy because you
yeah.
will use nothing else.
But I think what you combo it with is Maximilian's Earthen Grasp, where you have this stony fist reach out of the ground, grab a hold of this foe, and just continually crush them with that bludgeoning damage while they're being burned alive with
Hmm.
heat metal. And now here comes the beauty. To get out of the earthen grasp, that's a strength check. To survive the heat metal, that's a constitution saving throw.
Yep,
They are getting ravaged by both of
absolutely.
these spells. And
Especially like if you do this against an enemy that's not a barbarian type, bruh.
yeah, yeah. Because you could do it against, that heavy plate wearing armor foe. I just don't think they're going to stay caught in the Maximilian's Earthen Grass. I think
Probably
they're
not.
going to be strong enough to break out. But that said, if you do face an enemy wearing full plate armor and someone has heat metal, yo, light them up because they can't
Hmm.
take their armor off.
There's one that comes to mind for this battle, for this big battle against this big plate armor, like paladin or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, and it's very mean, and I don't want to say it
Please
because
do.
I don't want people to do it, but I need to because it's hilarious to me.
Go.
Now this two-step combo does involve a bit of luck
Okay.
because the first thing that is necessary is that you are able to successfully cast Feeble Mind.
Sure.
And that's kind of tough on a paladin,
Yes.
but it's not impossible on a paladin
No.
compared to like some of your usual paladin's other saving throws.
Right.
Feeble Mind has a solid chance of taking. But once you do, banishment.
Yep.
Because Feeble Mind, it basically makes it impossible for them to resist the banishment.
Yeah, their charisma save gets just
Just
gooched.
wrecked.
Just gooched.
And it's always a fun thing for me to take this character that has just so much ready to defend against a particular saving throw, and then they fail it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I feel you. You're talking about mean combinations.
Yep.
And there's one that, and I'm not original for thinking of this one.
Okay.
I've seen it other places, but I don't think you can mention a spell combo without mentioning this. It's high level stuff, but
Yep.
I don't care what you use it on. If it's a single target, I don't care. It's going to die.
Mm-hmm.
You start with Force Cage,
Okay.
and then you use Sickening Radiance.
Oh, yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sickening Radiance, where they're eventually going to fail some of those saves. And once you start failing those saves, you're going to keep failing those saves. It's not the damage you care about that much. It's those
Mm-hmm.
levels of exhaustion where they're going to eventually reach that sixth level of exhaustion where it's instant death. Sickening Radiance it's a wonderful spell in what it does, but it's so hard to use because sure there's an area it covers, but anyone's just going to get off of that area.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you have a way to use it in a room that's only that big and then bar all the exits and then just
Great.
wait it out, it's a great way to kill everything in the room. But yeah, Sickening Radiance is. I love the spell, but if you can do something like drop a Force Cage on somebody,
Oh,
which
yeah.
um, there's no avoiding that Force Cage.
Mm-hmm.
It just catches you. So if they don't have a way to teleport out of it, they're in it.
Mm-hmm. They're just like, all right, I guess I'm here.
Yeah,
So like things like then like Cloud Kill, Insect Plague,
Yup.
good old fashioned Fireball,
Yes.
uh, anything,
Create
anything that.
bonfire.
Oh, yeah. There was one that I read when I was looking up to see stuff to make sure that I like didn't like copy someone else's
Right.
that have been spread across the internet a million times. I read it was just, yeah, low level, create bonfire and thorn whip to just pull them back into the
Yep.
fire.
Yep.
Which, like, shout out, like, let me see if I still have that tab open.
Sure.
Because what I saw it.
Beautiful combo.
Yeah, shout out to Mr. Nister on Reddit. Uh,
Yeah. I'm gonna have to give a shout out to the dungeon dudes. I did see the Force Cage one mentioned by them, but another one I
oh
saw
word.
mentioned by them that's just hilarious and wonderful. You cast water breathing on your entire party, right?
Okay.
You go into some sort of subterranean dungeon, uh, tunnels and whatnot. The most important thing is that it has a ceiling, and then go ahead and cast tsunami
Oh yes.
or
Or tidal wave.
yeah, anything that is going to fill that space with water
That's yep. That's
and
phenomenal.
just drown your enemies. Just drown them.
Thinking about it,
Ah,
uh, we could do that combo in our Sunday game
you could.
because my artificer has water breathing and water walk,
You
and
could.
our druid has a propensity for fucking tidal wave.
No, it's wonderful and kind of hilarious. But yeah, no, when I watched their episode on that, it was not lost to me that, oh, I could see these fools doing this. But
Yep.
it's one of my favorite combos they came up with that I felt the need to mention it.
Yeah. Now we've talked a lot about like combat combos,
Yes.
and I really want to talk about a few out of combat combos
Yes.
that I have come up with, and I'm not 100% sure if these have been said online already
Right.
or not. I tried to scour to make sure that I didn't repeat, but if I do, my bad. Um, but this one is for you druids out there. It's a way to just make your party a little bit of money and do something weirdly wholesome at the same time.
I'm
But
for
what
it.
you need is hands down one of the most shenanigans out of combat spells by someone in your party, and that is mass suggestion. Mass
Okay.
suggestion is just the great shenanigans of all of out of combat D&D casting and
It
some
really is.
in combat D&D casting. It's a
It
great
can be.
setup spell. But the second one that you need for all you druids is plant growth. Because
Okay.
plant growth as a spell, it doesn't really specify what happened. It doesn't specify like when in the plant's life cycle that they grow to. So
Mhm.
this is one of those ones that you kind of have to talk with your DM about. But also it just says that the plants grow. Um, but it doesn't necessarily say which plants grow more than just the plants in the area grow. So if you find, say, a place that your druid can tell had a bunch of wildflowers,
Yeah.
plant growth, and then mass suggestion on just an area of town to buy our flowers. And, like, yes, you're mass suggestioning people out of their money, but at the
Sure.
same time, everyone's getting flowers.
And that's worthwhile,
Yeah,
and that's fun. I am I am a fan of that, and
like,
I like when you can use things like plant growth to be a little more interesting or
yeah.
silly like that.
Because there
Mass
was another one that I
suggestion,
saw with
great
plant
great
growth that
stuff.
was there was another one I saw with plant growth that was still combat related.
Mhm.
When I was going, and I can't not mention it because I mentioned plant growth, but
Sure,
yeah, a great combat spell combo with a druid that's being more of a caster than a wild shaper
sure.
is it's spike growth and anything that already makes it rough terrain.
Yes. You just make it that your enemies are really locked down in a position. They're
Yep.
going to be taking damage.
And you're
Very
stuck in those
very difficult to
spikities.
get through. Yeah.
Uh, but another, but anyway, but that's another one that I just saw online, and I love it because I think that plant growth is a very underrated spell and an underused spell because people just think about it in like, well, it's rough terrain now. It's like,
Right.
but what plants are there?
Um, there are two combos I want to mention. One can be done by the same caster. One requires two casters. I'm gonna do the second one first. The one that requires two casters. If you can find a way to pull this off, you can make your rogue feel like the most badassiest badass to ever badass. And the
Ooh,
only reason I mention your rogue is whoever goes in there to do this needs a good dex save. And
okay.
it's the combination of delayed blast fireball and invisibility, where you have one person turn your rogue invisible,
Oh
or if they're an
no.
arcane trickster, they turn themselves invisible.
Oh
And the wizard
no.
casts delayed blast fireball, and they just focus on it. And they let it build over those 10 rounds until it goes off in the rogue's hand in the center of these enemies. And it's the rogue's job to just make that dexterity saving throw. Now, if they don't, they still got evasion by this point. They'll just take half damage.
Yep.
Um,
But
but that's awesome.
good
That's
God, you monster.
yeah,
You
yeah.
absolute monster.
What I love about the delayed blast fireball is it talks about that moat, how it can be grabbed and it can be thrown and all that. So you got to get it somewhere where it can't be seen, and then it's up to the rogue to get a hold of it and get it into position, or maybe even cast the moat where it's visible away from the enemies, and have someone who has dimension door, so they can
Just
run, grab it, dimension door through, and then yeet that thing, and then boom. Um, there's that one.
also catapult.
Yes, catapult, wonderful spell,
Catapult.
wonderful spell. Um,
Good
the
God.
other combo I want to mention is this is any spell that alters the direction that creatures travel, say reverse gravity
Hmm.
or like ravenous void. Um, man,
I
it
mean,
could be
levitate, man.
it could, well, not levitate so much because they have to be forced in a certain direction.
Oh,
A gust of wind could work for this. The important thing is they have to get thrown or pulled towards a certain point. And then whatever is either at
thorn
that
whip.
central point or in the way, you use prismatic wall as a sphere. Yeah. Uh, I saw this mentioned,
Ew.
yeah, by the dungeon dudes of reverse gravity and prismatic wall, where if you were pulled up through it, you would hit all the layers going in, all the layers coming out, and then if reverse gravity was turned off, it would happen the other way. And I went, that's awesome, and I
That's
love it.
ow.
And nothing can survive that, by the way. Going through 4 layers of prismatic wall, even a level 20 totem barbarian is gooched.
Oh yeah.
But what I thought was, if you just want to make it that next level of wrong, make it a sphere at the central of a ravenous void. Now that's 2 9th level spells. You have to have two very, very, very powerful wizards together
Yeah.
casting this. But
But
if you
good
ever
God.
had that in your party, this is just called I wreck your combat. It's over. I've
That's
ruined it. Yeah,
fuck.
yeah. I basically call that combination "I'm your daddy" now
Holy
because yeah,
fuck. That
the
is monster. You
isn't it?
absolute
It's
monster.
great. And then anyone who makes their strength saving throw or whatever to try and get out of there, you have
Yeah.
your big powerful martial characters just use the shove action to throw them back in.
Mean. Mean. Mean.
I mean, this is These are some of the things I think of. And again, you're almost never going to get to do that one because like
Yeah.
Ravenous Void is a ninth level spell. Prismatic Wall is a ninth level spell. You have to have two 17th level or above wizards to do this.
Or a bard with wish.
Well, a wish can't copy a ninth level spell.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
It's in below.
That's
So
right. I always
yeah,
forget about that because I'm used to wish just being the like, all right, it can do anything.
yeah. Now again, if you have that druid in your party, you could
Mm-hmm.
say you have the wizard cast Prismatic Wall, then have your druid cast Tsunami and just flush everything down the drain right into the Prismatic Wall.
Why is everything just made better by using tsunami?
Because it's a ridiculous spell and it's wonderful. Like Tsunami doesn't do a stupid amount of damage, but
But
it's
it's
a strength
ridiculous.
which a lot of things are going to fail, and it just drags them along. Um, Telekinesis to throw something into a prismatic wall is also fun
Hmm.
too.
That's telekinesis a is a spell that I have definitely overlooked until just recently.
I think
Especially now with Tasha's with it being you can get it as a feat.
yeah.
And
Um,
that's what really made popped it onto my radar was that, like, you can take telekinesis as a feat.
yeah.
Anyone can be telekinetic.
A lot of
Anyone can
people
be telekinetic.
overlook it because I think of where it falls in the wizard spell list, where
Hmm.
there's powerful damaging spells around all of it. But I think the important thing to remember is if you're playing a wizard, is your job's not just to be an arcane hammer. Even if you're an evocation wizard, I would say you got to really have some, you know,
Hmm.
utility. Your sorcerer is going to be more about damage, and then particularly if there's a warlock in the party. I
Uh,
mean,
the warlock's two spells are going to be all damage,
exactly. Like that's
or
that's
charm
what they,
person.
yeah, it's what they do. It's what they excel in. I'm not saying you can't
uh,
have a warlock that doesn't do more things, but when it's time to roll initiative, you can rely on your warlock for damage in every combat.
yeah.
You don't know what your wizard's going to do. You just hope that they're going to do something to help,
Hmm.
uh, just help the combat
Yeah.
work well for you.
Now there's a thing that popped into my mind, uh, that we would be remiss if I didn't mention it because I know it's heavy in your brain and I
Go.
think about it a lot as well. In the messing with magic and playing with like casting spells differently than normal and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of people overlook upcasting utility spells. Because there are a good amount of them that you can't.
Yes.
But have you ever seen the shenanigans of, like, say a 12th level wizard or something like that using a 6th level spell slot to cast fly on the whole crew?
It changes the game. It changes the game. All of
Because,
a
like,
sudden now everyone can fly.
yeah, because I think
And if that
sixth
wizard,
sixth level is 4 targets or something. Sixth level fly is like 4 targets or something like that.
let's see here, flies a third level spell.
Yeah, and then it's an additional one each
Yeah,
level. So yeah,
4 targets.
yeah.
And
So
that's it's a great way to have mobility for an entire party.
yep.
And if that wizard was smart and remembered that con is not a dump stat, they will be able to make those concentration checks for when they get hit. Also, make sure you take Warcaster.
I mean, or the wizard could just fly out of the way and not get hit.
Can't fly out of the way when you're being attacked. Armor class is a thing.
Uh, why? Fly, flight speed, leave.
I hear you. I'm also saying you're not going to get out of the range of a longbow in one round.
That is assuming that the enemies have a longbow.
I'm assuming they have worse things because if they're my enemies, a longbow is the least of your damn worries.
Yeah, but also if they're your enemies, uh, they specifically are going to have things to make people to force people into constitution saves because we constantly do this.
True. You know what's even more fun though than making the wizard fail a Constitution save to make all of them drop out of the sky? cast dispel magic on them one by one.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, like
That's super fun.
yeah,
Uh,
dispel magic on a flying PC. You're just be ready for the look your players will give you when you do that shit.
but yeah,
They will look at you horrible. It's up there with counterspelling a healing spell.
yeah. That's. But again, talking about magic, most people don't have to plan to do all the concentration checks that you make people do because you love con so much as a stat,
I like
and
hit
I
points.
know it's unnecessary with most DMs.
No, no, you have to have hit points.
You you don't if you dodge. You just love that stat because you love barbarians, and it's no shade against you, but that
Nope,
is your bias coming out heavy.
that's fine. A bias will be there. My wizard has a 14 con. It's had it
But
since level one.
you can't talk about things being overarching in a game system if it's just your bias.
I mean, you can.
No, because it's wrong.
Agree to disagree.
No, because it's wrong.
That said, I want to sidebar briefly off of spell combos if we can.
Yeah,
Curious if there are certain spells out there that you feel like don't get the love they deserve. Maybe as part of
abs.
combos or on their own.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I actually have a list written down right here, um, and it's a spell that people love at low levels
Okay.
and then leave in the dust, and that is sleep.
Yeah,
Because it's like what I was mentioning when we got on Fly, is that you can upcast sleep.
you can.
And, like, yes, it's not going to be great if you're fighting a troll.
No,
Sure. But if you're doing, like, a jailbreak, put them guards to sleep with the 6th level sleep.
exactly. Like, why not burn that high level spell to avoid a combat?
Yeah, and I think it's just because people love the fun flashiness of those higher level spells
Sure.
that they forget that upcasting a first level spell to ridiculous proportions, oh, it gets big.
Yeah, it does.
It gets
And
big.
and that's a great point of how many hit points of dice you're rolling at a 6 level sleep. Is it as fun to cast as say disintegrate? No, but like you said, if it's a jailbreak situation, that's
Yeah.
that's huge.
So let's see, I'm just looking up like a 6th level sleep. It's an additional 2d8 for each spell slot above.
Per
So
level.
that's an extra 10d8 if you're casting it at 6th level.
Yeah, and what's the base?
And then the base
Is it
is.
5?
I'm looking, and why doesn't it say?
I believe it's 5. If that's the case, that would be 15d8.
Yes, that is five. It is 5d8 is the base.
There you
Yes,
go.
that's 15d8. 15d8 of hit points
Yeah,
for a 6th level spell.
yeah. If you're just going on averages, on average, that's gonna be 65 hit points worth of sleep. If
Mm-hmm.
it's a jailbreak, you're putting them guards to sleep.
Oh yeah,
And
unless
if
for
you don't,
yeah.
you learned something about those guards.
Mm-hmm. You
Like,
learn something very, very important about those
yeah,
guards.
you learned they're stupid powerful. And that's very valuable information to have before a combat.
Oh yeah.
Um, if we're talking about spells that really get overlooked, there actually is a ninth level spell I want to talk about, but I don't think it gets the love or recognition it deserves. I
All
understand
right.
why it doesn't, because if you're a wizard and you hit level 17, you get to start taking your first ninth level spells. I know what you're going to take. You're going to take Wish and Meteor Swarm. I
Yeah.
say this because I know I'm taking Wish and Meteor Swarm. And I don't know
Mm-hmm.
that I know anybody that would not take those because Meteor Swarm, stupid amount of damage, can be
Mm-hmm.
cast from a mile away. It's an amazing spell.
Yep.
And as for Wish, if you get to hit level 17 as a wizard, I can't imagine not taking Wish. Why would you not?
Absolutely.
It's amazing. But I think the spell that really gets lost in the shuffle of all those big damaging spells or world altering spells like Wish is Gate.
Oh, absolutely.
I love Gate as a spell. The fact that you can have it open to a specific point on any plane of existence means you can do a couple things with this. One, it is the ultimate evacuation.
Mm-hmm.
You need to get out of a bad situation and go somewhere safe. Gate, you're there. You could set this up for a big battle. You go to your allies that have this big, powerful army, and you go, look, have your forces ready around this time. And when the gate opens, you'll have a minute. Start going through. You
And
could
then you
turn,
get Avengers Endgame.
you do. Or my other favorite thing is just the fact that you speak the name of a creature and its ass gets pulled through the gate.
Mm-hmm.
That's simple. Doesn't matter who they are, doesn't matter where they are, their ass gets pulled through the gate.
Yep.
Now, gate does have one I won't say drawback. The fact that it says deities and other planar rulers can prevent portals created by gate from opening in their presence or within their domains.
Yeah.
And that's to keep it from being broken. Like if you're having a campaign where like your big bad evil is a literal deity, and
Yeah.
you don't want them to get pulled into the celestial realm and just get their ass stomped. That's
Mm-hmm.
I mean that's
Just be
why
like,
it's
hey, I'm hanging out with you, Dawnfather. Gate, Orcus.
yeah, not gonna work. But what I absolutely love the fact that you can go, okay, I need an ally here, or I need an enemy here, or shit. If there's just someone you're looking for,
Mm-hmm.
oh man, we don't know how to find Zimmenhofer. Wait, I'll cast Gate. Bring Zimmenhofer here. There they are. We have them.
Yep.
Like it's it's a
It's the
really
improved version of Find Creature.
exactly yeah. Locate person. They're right here. I got them. Uh,
Locate person more. Give person offer they can't refuse.
Exactly. And, and also, what's just great about it, if you know the name of a big terrible creature. I mean, we saw this in campaign 1 of Critical Role
Mm.
when
Mm-hmm.
they were fighting the White Dragon Vorogel, the Frigid Doom. They knew that one of the vestiges was in the stomach of a Garistro named Yank. And so in that battle, they went, "Hey, we have a scroll of gate. Let's summon that Garistro and see what happens." Um, it it went both ways. The Gristro did attack the dragon a little, but mostly attacked Vox Machina.
Yeah.
But I love that use of the spell because again, you don't know what's going to happen when this creature shows up,
No.
but it's awesome. It's wonderful. I love Gate, and I really think it's an overlooked spell because man, in a pinch, you need to get out of somewhere. The castle is crumbling apart,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't rely on teleport because maybe you can't all link hands in that moment, but your wizard can go, I'm opening a gate and I'm getting out, and you all have 1 minute.
It's you've got a minute.
You got a
Cabs are
minute.
here.
Yeah. Basically, like, I hope to see you on the other side of this gate, but I'm not dying. And I
Yep.
think in that aspect, I also like that you could have that very self serving character, but then also not screw the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, if you have a wizard that still has a 9th level spell slot and everything's going to shit and everything's tumbling down around you, and you have Gate going. So remember that keep we have? Gate. That's where I'll be.
It's I'm going home.
You have a minute to join
Yeah.
me. And when
The
this thing, yeah, and when this thing closes, if you're not there, it was a pleasure having served with you.
Yep. And that gives me that pops into mind for me another spell that I won't say that it's overlooked, but it's underused.
Sure.
Like it's in that mid ground of like it's definitely not used as much as it should be, but it's not
Fireball.
like
Oh no.
no. Fireball is too
Eldritch
much
Blast.
too often. Yes, no one uses Eldritch Blast. But it's contingency.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh,
See,
I love
contingency,
that spell.
that spell, it like because basically contingency, it lets you bank a spell.
Yes.
It lets you bank a spell.
On a
And
specific instance.
yeah, and it can be such a great like it's such a great get out of jail free. It can
Yes.
be like, all right, when I drop to like a quarter of my health, dimension door me that way.
Yes.
Like that can be a contingency you set up. Uh and so many out of combat contingencies can happen. Like contingency mass suggestion so that you don't have to get caught casting mass suggestion.
Yeah, you could have it, when I tear this handkerchief, mass suggestion is cast.
Mm-hmm.
Like you set it for a very specific instance.
Or even planning a like a cause fear at a high level,
Yeah.
something like that, and then contingency that like when the barbarian roars, so you can
Yeah,
give like that combo intimidation check fear that doesn't really seem like it's a spell being cast, and you can flavor it like that.
it's a wonderful thing. And in the one of the last big combats you guys had, the fact
Mm-hmm.
that the necromancer had contingency on him, where if his hit points went below half, it would cast greater invisibility.
Mm-hmm.
And that was his way to get the hell out of there,
Yep,
because now he was invisible and he was able to plane shift away, because he knew no one could counterspell it, because you can't counterspell what you can't see.
that is
uh,
correct.
I think contingency, if you're creating a big bad evil guy who's a spellcaster, um, I think the utility spells are really important things to look at to decide what are they doing in their downtime,
Mm-hmm.
using things like contingency, like mind blank, demiplane, all these things they could do to make themselves more powerful or just safer. It's it's really good. Like I think any DM, if they have long term antagonists, should spend a little time always thinking about what are they doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Don't always keep them in a fixed location, or also what would they do to keep safe. And I think this is well shown. Like, you look at Dungeon of the Mad Mage, just to use one
Yeah.
book as an example. When you look at Halastair Blackcloak's stat block, it mentions that prior to combat, will have both mage armor and mind blank already cast on.
Mm-hmm.
You know to expend those spell slots, but you also know, okay, add +3 to the armor class and is immune to psychic damage.
Yep. Which
That's big.
it's really great. And I think just a lot of those like prep spells, if that makes
Yes,
sense. Like the prep spells, they don't really get their time in the sun, which I think they deserve.
you're
Uh,
not wrong.
and just because they're not as cool as they're not as cool as a high level fireball or lightning bolt. Uh, oh, a high level lightning bolt reminds me of I was scrolling same Reddit thread, the mass suggestion of everyone stand in a line.
Yep.
It just
I
doesn't matter
suggest you
what
make
you do.
conga line. Whoosh.
Doesn't matter what you're gonna do next, but mass suggestion. Hey,
Yep.
get in a line.
I think and again, we saw this in the finale for campaign 2 of Critical Role, but I had seen this mentioned in some places. People will overlook time stop some,
Mm,
because it's like, oh, if you attack um, anything, it drops, much like regular invisibility. It's like, right, but you could cast time stop, and you could do things like cast globe of invulnerability on yourself and
mm-hmm.
flame shield, or heck, you could throw down a delayed blast fireball and guarantee to build a few rounds while that time stop goes. You
Mm-hmm.
could end the time stop by throwing down a second radiance underneath everyone and make the entire party instantly play the floor as lava.
Mm-hmm. As
Like,
well as just with that time stop, like, oh shit, time stop. Buff, buff, buff. All right, let's do this.
exactly. Like, time stop is one of those things where if you're a player character and you're a wizard that has that, this is really giving you a chance to go, okay, I'm going to think for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
What buffs do I want to have, and where do I exactly want to be positioned?
Absolutely.
And if you're a DM, you have your big bad evil, use a time stop. You just get to enjoy knowing your players are about to see something horrible.
Yep.
Time stop will end. And you're like, oh, by the way, when the time stop ends, what you see is you can set a whole new scene to them. Or sixth and lastly, you can just use that as a chance for your big bad evil to run away.
Yep. Just
Eh,
time stop. Teleportation.
yeah, maybe they don't want to fight right now. Just run away.
Which
And
is
your
why,
party will be wondering.
if you can, always counterspell time stop.
Yeah, it's that one's bad. That one can be very, very bad. Because
Always,
it can
always
change,
counterspell time stop.
yeah, it can change the entire course of everything. But yeah, I don't think it gets overlooked as much as Gate, but I think it's one of those other
No.
spells that gets overlooked a bit.
Yeah, like time stop and contingency. I just think they're underused simply because a lot of players don't take the time to prep. And not even like being ready for the session, but I mean
Right.
like they don't let their characters take time to prep. And when you're playing a high level wizard, your character's smart even if you're not.
Yes, and I think the best way to really do that, just know your spells well. Like
Mm-hmm.
if your DM pushes you about you not knowing knowledge, like push back and go, wait, would my character know this? My intelligence is 18. Would I
Yeah,
know this? Like that's okay to do.
absolutely. And
Um,
let's see, trying to run down my list of notes as we get to the end just to like not have missed anything. Oh
I've
yeah,
got one more fun combo
go for it.
for you. I call this combo Lemmings. It's a combination of two spells.
Oh no.
You first cast Antipathy Sympathy with the sympathy portion that draw things towards it, and then you cast Hallucinatory Terrain to make it seem like the ground is solid, where there's a gap. And as these creatures are compelled to come closer to whatever this is,
I can't. I can't with you. That is hilarious.
right? If you're a DM and you do this to your players, if you're able to pull this off, what's done to your players, you have to have a sound file set up of Goofy falling off a cliff, so you can
You
every time they
absolutely
fall.
do. Oh
Because
my god.
like they'll get mad, but they won't be able to stop laughing because hearing that sound, people are gonna laugh.
It's how you cast Tasha's hideous laughter in real life.
Yeah,
Uh
that's that's the other combo I wanted to talk about. Is you do antipathy sympathy
mm,
using the sympathy, and then you just have hallucinatory terrain and let them fall in a hole.
I feel that. See, for me, the one more fun spell. It's not a spell combo as much as just a fun spell. That I think gets overlooked. That I put in the notes, and I even made the font bigger so I wouldn't forget about it. But
Yeah,
I still left it at the bottom of the list. So, uh, and that is the spell web
web is nasty. It's difficult
because
to get out of.
outside of combat, it's funny.
You're not wrong.
Just you know, you say something just a little mean to a guard, the guards start running, and you web the streets. And then you watch as these NPC guards are just, you get back here, son of a. Get.
With no damn stats, they're trying to catch you. Yeah, spells are fun. Like find fun ways to use them. Find ways to use them um that benefit your allies or that are at least you know fun to do or interesting in
Yeah.
combat.
At least use it to make you laugh. Like
Yeah.
I had, this was in when I was playing 3.5. But there's I don't I haven't actually looked to see if it translates to fifth edition, but I would use, there was a cantrip called Inscribe Rune,
Okay.
and my sorcerer, he would just use it to call tap taps on a seat at the bar.
I think the important one to close with uh, is make sure that if you have multiple spellcasters in the party and you can both cast Mage Hand, that you either use Mage Hand to high five or fist bump.
Oh, 100%. Oh, you have to.
It's
You
essential.
absolutely have to. Give me one.
Like, yeah,
Give me,
because you
give
can
me,
be
give
in
me,
the middle
give
of
me.
doing something and you just throw that Mage Hand over there and there it
Try and
is.
try and do it with the screen. Try and do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Try and give me five through the screen, because that wrong
Eh,
side. Wrong side.
eh, okay. Eh.
There we go.
All right.
That was dumb.
How? Let's go
But
both
here
ways.
we anyway, that's so that's our time for the show.
Going both ways in many ways, as we do on Dice
I
Heroes,
mean,
you know.
but
Like
so
I always
thank
tell
you,
people, it's a spectrum, and don't knock it till you've tried it.
thank you all so much for watching. I hope that you got some spell ideas, some fun spell shenanigans, or just a little bit of confidence to use your spells more often in weird ways.
Yeah.
Please always remember, because it helps us to do all the internet things, because we want internet money to get Bjorn a better computer.
Working on it.
We're trying. We
Trying.
actually got pretty close with the live stream of the one shot.
I saw
If
people watched it.
Yeah, if a bunch of people if everybody that watched it subscribed, we would hit Twitch partner, which is kind of cool.
Yep.
You just all have to actually hit that subscribe button, which I know is counterintuitive on Twitch, because usually subscribing costs money. It's free right now
It's
to
free.
subscribe to us.
Free. And if you subscribe to us and we get enough subscribers, we're not kidding. We'll put your names into a drawing to let somebody be a guest on a one shot.
Oh, 100%. That,
It's like
yeah,
we'll
hands
straight up
down.
do it.
But yeah, please.
And as things are opening up, we might do a live one shot at some point.
Yep. I've already got the gears turning on that, because there's a perfect venue that I'm friends with. But
Good.
I didn't want to talk to you about it until we were more solidified. Anyway, please do all the internet things. Watch us again next week. Stay tuned for our August one shot.
Yeah.
It's let's see, what are the other things that we usually say that I'm blanking on for some reason, because I've got a million things in my mind right now.
Tip your server. Tip your server.
Yeah, just being a good person
tip your
things.
server, tip your bartender, tip your barista, tip
Mhm.
your delivery driver, tip your Lyft driver, tip everyone.
Even yourself, if you can manage to find a way.
If you find a way, tip yourself.
But yeah, do all the internet things. As always, the episodes will be up. This will be up on our YouTube channel at noon. And watch our Instagram to have things on it, because it will have content on it, because I'm starting to create too many things. So it'll just happen. I'm gonna try and push Bjorn into creating things as well.
I want to. I gotta figure out how.
Well, do it. Anyway, so
yeah.
keep up on all our social media things to see the next things we do. All right. That's the end of our nonsense. Bjorn, what do we always say?
Con is not a dump stat.
No.
Oh, do something nice for yourself this weekend.
There it is.